Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I know there's some videos coming out soon talking about Zeb Wells on Spider-Man, but those are in the future, or rather they record in the past, and they're not playing in the future. But this video is all about Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. will end their Amazing Spider-Man run this fall with Spidey's most brutal battle against Tombstone. Now, there's a number of things that are wrong with that sentence, and first of all, and I may be a comic purist here, but if it's Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr., then in my mind, that means they were on for the whole run. But John Romita Jr. was only on for some of the run. And unlike a lot of you, I like John Romita Jr. I think his art is still pretty epic. He's clearly, it's not the same John Romita Jr. that I loved from the Uncanny X-Men back, say 25 years ago, or with Daredevil or some of those books. I think he did an amazing Iron Man back in the day. But so it's not quite the same John Romita Jr., although you have to admit, this is Romita Jr. that is more passionate about what he's doing than, say, when he was on that Bendis Superman book, where it really felt like he was trying to get off of that title and out of that company as fast as humanly possible. But anyway, they weren't on the run for this whole thing. So it's not their run. It was their run interrupted by art by several other people, including like Ed McGuinness and others. But sure, they're ending their run with Spidey's most brutal battle against Tombstone, and I'm just going to have to say bullshit there. But anyway, the announcement is that there is one final arc, and that arc starts in issue number 56, or 850, who's counting, which will feature the final knockdown, drag-out fight of Peter Parker versus Tombstone in a battle to win it all, with Marvel saying this is Spidey's most brutal battle ever. And nobody knows how long this arc will last, but let's just throw out there 6 issues, right? Anyway, and then there will be one more double-sized issue, and then another one with a bunch of different creators on there, and another one where Kelly Thompson is writing a story for some reason, teasing that she'll be the new Spider-Man writer, and then whatever will be done, and then we can get a brand new Spider-Man #1, era 879, whatever, legacy issue, and we can go on from there. Anyway, this issue is billing this. It says, the rekindled rivalry between Tombstone and Spider-Man has been long-running subplot in Wells' Amazing Spider-Man run, which also enlisted artists Ed McGuinness and Patrick Gleason, throughout the run, which began way back in... it began way back in 2021. Holy shit, 3 years ago. Anyway, it began way, way back when comic fans were young and still had a sparkle in their eye in 2021. And this current arc of the title is tying off some of Wells' other big plot lines, including the evolution of the living brain, the return of the Sinister Six, Norman Osborn's fall from grace as the reborn Green Goblin, Ben Reilly's transformation into the villainous Chasm, and it is, and let's not forget the greatest sin of all, Mary Jane fucking Paul, her new boyfriend, and the separation from Peter Parker. It says in this solicitation, it's a safe bet Wells won't end his run without at least putting some kind of resolution to the love triangle. Sure. Though it's also likely it won't be what fans expect. Yeah. No shit. The Spider-Man fans at this point are the battered spousals of Marvel, who have been praying for a Peter Parker, Mary Jane reunion for, I don't know, it's got to be, like there's been entire children that have been conceived, born, gone through school, and headed off to college in the time that it's taken for this goddamn mystery to be solved. Anyway, it says, though Wells' run has been polarizing, as let's face it, most modern Spider-Man runs tend to be, ergo, every Spider-Man run that promises to do right by the fans, hint, hint, we're going to get the two back together, and then they don't. Amazing how those are polarizing. It says, I've enjoyed its broad strokes. Who is this writer? Is this George? Yep, it's George Marston, who is the biggest... Like, you have to be getting a check, man. Your self-respect is not worth this. Anyway, it says, I've enjoyed its broad strokes. What the fuck does that even mean? By broad strokes, and a critic is reviewing a title and says, I've enjoyed the broad strokes of this title. It means this title's mostly sucked, but in theory, I'm glad it exists as opposed to nothing. I mean, they could have printed a comic, the Amazing Spider shit, and it's just like 22 pages of just fecal jokes. And I'm glad that the title is not that. This is better than that. So that's the broad strokes of this entire thing. At least this title, didn't have a bunch of anti-Semitic jokes in it for 22 pages. At least I've enjoyed the broad strokes of it not being horribly racist. Okay. Anyway, George says, I've enjoyed its broad strokes, especially his handling of the relationship between Peter Parker and Norman Osborn. It'll be interesting to see who comes next. Will it though? Anyway, so this is a big announcement, sort of. It feels kind of like a whimper. The Nick Spencer run, I mean, a lot of comic fans online had issues with Nick Spencer because once upon a time, Nick Spencer said that Trump was a maniac and that pissed people off. And then they didn't like his Secret Empire run. And let's face it, it did kind of suck. But let's not forget, Spencer did also do some decent work. And his Spider-Man run was not bad. It at least tried to right some wrongs. I thought it was decent. Whatever. The villain was, sure. But Zeb Wells came onto this and it promised a big, what did Peter do? And turned out what he did, kind of nobody gave a shit about. And they introduced the Mary Jane and Paul relationship, which, fuck, if you're not putting a bullet, like if Tombstone isn't killing Paul in this thing, and by the way, I'm almost positive that's exactly what's going to happen. Paul's going to die in some kind of heroic moment, like he's going to leap in front of a train filled with nuns to save everybody from Tombstone's flunky rabbit girl. I don't know. Anyway, my guess is Paul dies. Mary Jane is sad. Peter's like, he was a true hero. Sure, he fucked my girlfriend and, basically was a giant bitch. But, I have to admit, he did save those nuns. Anyway, so we'll get that. And then we'll move on to the next writer, which will promise a bold new Spider-Man era where he moves to Chicago or some dumb shit like that. Anyway, this isn't the only high-profile person leaving. Joshua Williamson said, hey, I've been doing too much work, and is announcing his departure from Green Arrow and Batman and Robin. So a lot of people leaving. Maybe Joshua Williamson will be the new Spider-Man writer, and maybe Zeb Wells will go off and do Green Arrow. I mean, who knows? We'll see what all goes on. But anyway, some big name comic writers leaving right now. Sounds good. Here's hoping good things happen with all that. But what do you say? Did you enjoy the Zeb Wells Spider-Man run? I mean, look, I think it's hyperbole to say it's the worst run ever. It's not. There's been worse Spider-Man stories by far. But it has felt a little bit like stunt writing. It's like, somebody's dying. Who will it be? Oh, it's Miss Marvel. But now she's back to life. And hey, Spider-Man's a Green Goblin. And now he's not. And now he is again. And so there's a little bit of like, Jesus Christ, man. Just stick with the plot. Anyway, there's some late night news for you from your old buddy Perch. 2 videos in one day. Who the fuck knew it? Thanks for listening.